Hi. So today I'm doing Twisted Love and the Twisted series by Anna Huang. So the first book is He Has a Heart of Ice, but for her he'd burn the world. Um, which is literally on the front of the book that basically describes the whole book and himself. But the main characters starting the series are Alex and Ava, with the trigger warnings of sexual context, language, and violence. Now, by the way, if I'm looking down, I'm looking at my phone. As you can see, I've written it all down. um, so, Ava is like a free spirit, but is somewhat trapped in her own mind and her own nightmares, as her childhood has kind of taken over her sleep herself. And Alex is a devil with an angel face, and he's also cursed by his past that he cannot escape. So the main characters are Ava and Alex. As I said before, Ava's brother is Josh, and Josh is friends with Alex. Josh is the third book, which is Twisted Hate. That's Josh. That's the one about Josh. Um, At the end of the video, I will be showing you guys, and well, not really showing, more like telling a summary of what all these books are about, the age that I'd say you could read these, and anything that I didn't find right, which I'd probably say while I'm reading the books. But this I did finish in a week. This is probably my favorite one out of all four of them, only because it kind of shows like a more tragic story and it's more heartwarming at the end. I mean, these are all heartwarming, but like it's more heartwarming at the end because of her past and his past as well colliding. Um, so I'll move on to the second book. Alright, so we're now on Twisted Games, which honestly, this is like the guy in this book is probably the only decent one out of the whole series. And if someone that's already read this watches, they'll understand what I mean. But the front cover is he can't have her, but he's taking her anyway. Honestly, it describes the book really well. Uh, it's just a really love story book. It's kind of like a fairy tale, honestly, the love story. Um, but the main characters are Rise, which I'm hoping I'm saying that correct, and Bridget. And the trigger warnings, again, are just sexual context, but the page where it does normally have context warning and whatnot, it's just saying what part one and part two is, which part one of the book is the time that Twisted Love goes on, and then part two is after. I also didn't say this in with the first book, but they also have playlists, which I will try to get up. They also have playlists, which if you guys want me to make a playlist on YouTube with all those songs for this series, please let me know. I will probably do it anyway, but just in case. Um, So yeah, sadly they do not have all the trigger warnings on there because I don't think it just has the part one and two instead. But um I did read these last year, so there are probably a few things that I've forgotten, but I'm gonna still try to keep it so it's so I'm not spoiling the book for you. But Rise has two rules. One, to protect his clients at all costs, and the second, to never become emotionally involved. Ever. Bridget is a princess with the dreams of freedom to live and love as she chooses. So I cannot remember where Bridget is a princess from, but from what I remember, she cannot marry outside of royalty. She cannot like go and do whatever she wants as a princess. And that's all she wants to do. She just wants freedom. She just wants to be safe. I mean, not really like obviously safe, but like I guess have freedom of doing whatever she wants without having the royalty being in her way. This is my second favorite. And I think these books go in order. Like the first one was my favorite. This is my second favorite. This is my fourth, and then the last one. This is my third. Sorry, and then the last one is my fourth. Um, I don't think that's. I think it's quite a coincidence, but yes. So this is my second favorite. Um, by the way, with these series, you don't. I mean, you kind of have to read them in order to understand what's going on in this one, like the part one. But honestly, if you read them in a different order and you just wanted to read their story, I think you'd be pretty alright. But we're now moving on to the third book. Hi, so we're now on Twisted Hate, which is about Josh and Jules. But it starts off with the top here saying he hates her almost as much as he wants her. This book was really great and I kind of want to say really spicy. Um, but probably all of them have about the same amount of spice. But this, like every time there was a spicy scene, it just went one above, I guess. Um, so the trigger warnings with this is obviously sexual context, bad language, mild violence, and possible sensitive topics. Now, with the bad language, if you can watch my videos, I'm pretty sure you're fine. I do swear like every once a blue moon, but if you're reading sexual context, there's probably going to be profanity or like bad language and all that sort of stuff in it. So, yeah. But Josh has never met a man who never met a woman, sorry, that he couldn't charm. He's a gorgeous, cocky, hotshot doctor. And Jules is a former party girl who is now focusing on one thing, passing the bar exam. So these guys really had a really good enemies to lovers. Um, I don't want to say like enemies, but like kind of just not friends, not getting along, always making jokes about each other whenever Jules was hanging out with Ava, which is the main character of the first one. Also, Josh is the brother to Ava from the first one. I know they're all connected by like they're all friends with each other. Um, but yeah, this one was really interesting. It didn't have as much like twists as the first one, but it still had quite a lot of drama and like interesting topics. Um, well, not really topics, more just scenes. But yeah, this is a really great one. But again, this is my third favorite. Um, and you'll find out why the last one isn't any of my favorites in like a second. So we're gonna move on to that one now. This is the last one, and then we're moving on to the summary, and that will be the end of the video. But this is Twisted Lies. It says he'll do anything to have her, including lie. Um, the reason that this is probably my least favorite is because I couldn't get through it. At the start, I was probably halfway before I actually got interested in the book. And I don't want to say it's like a slow burn, but it just didn't keep me interested the whole time. It only kept me interested during the last like 200 pages, I think. It's about 500. Yeah, about 200 pages. So the trigger warnings are obviously sexual context, um, language. I don't know why they put language, graphic, violence, and sensitive topics. Which the other two are fair enough. Also, if you do hear a clickety clack, my seat is like a bin that's probably meant to go in a garage, but this is my chair. Also, sorry I stopped for a second. It went all white. I don't know why. But yeah, I'm kind of just sitting on a bin full of Legos, I think. But Christian is a monster dressed in the perfectly tailored suits of a gentleman. He's really rich, and I'm pretty sure he has like a security business. I'm pretty sure that's the whole gist. One of my friends did say though this the Christian is like Zaid, but like obviously a chiller version of Zaid with all the security cameras and stuff. So if you've watched Haunting Adeline, he is a lot chiller version of that. It's like a it's like more of an M rated version of that. Like if you live in Australia, that's like 15 plus version of this. um so Stella is a sweet, shy, introverted person, but despite her like social fame, she is a romantic who keeps her heart in a cage, which is really sad. Honestly, it's really sad. Um, but yeah, she is social media famous, I guess one would say. Um, and it does say a lot about like someone who does social media in their life. For example, it does the topic of stalking. It does the topic of that experience. So if you've been stalked before, or you just can't deal with that topic, that's also another trigger warning, which I probably should have put in the front. But anyway, um, but yeah, there are a lot of sensitive topics throughout these books. I'm now going to move on to the summary, which shouldn't be like a really long summary, but all right. So we're now on the summary, and I'm going to tell you my positives and negatives about this. So the positives throughout this whole series is that I was really enjoying it until the end, which is kind of a negative, but it's okay. With the first and second book, they were my top, and I think I finished those within a week. The second and third one, third and fourth one, sorry, it did take like maybe 2 3 weeks just to get through them, but then again I was really busy, so that's probably why. But all these main characters in each book, they are either friends or you kind of hear about them either at the start of their own book. For example, Christian, I think he was only like you only kind of found out about him in like book 3 or 4, maybe possibly. But everyone else is kind of in this friend group. Um, and it's honestly really cool how Anna Hung brought this friend group into just this romantic bundle. I guess you could say it was just all in one story. Um, just to pick a version of it, I guess. What I didn't like the uh God. I don't even like besides from the last book, I don't think there was anything that I didn't like actually. Maybe when I was actually reading it, but I did read these last year, and I've only just put out a review, and I know it's a bit silly, but hey, yeah, there wasn't much that I didn't like. Besides from the books where the front covers have been kind of coming off, which I think people have found a solution to that, but I don't think I'll be doing that. Um, but yeah, honestly, these are really great books. So the age rating, I would put these 16, 17, only because of the sexual context. It's in every single book, and there's still a decent amount, besides from maybe the last one. Yeah, there's still a decent amount. There's also really hard topics, which I wouldn't even like talk about with someone that's in year 8 and 9 that has learnt about these. Like, I did get an understanding of those topics when I was in year 8 and 9, which, if you're not in Australia, that's like being 13, 14, 15. But yeah, I wouldn't go in depth at that age of these topics. So I'd probably be 16, 17. On the book, though, it does say 18 plus, but then again, if you're really mature, you could probably go under that. And that's really just the book's review, and I'm sure it's also the publisher trying not to get in trouble if, like, a 13-year-old read this. And they said, yeah, a 13-year-old could read this, but they couldn't. So, yeah. If you are at 16, 17, you're into spice, you're into romance, and you don't really know what romance series you want to read next, I would go with Twisted series. A lot of my friends do want to read this, but I'm not letting them borrow it because half the time I'm living like 3 hours away from them. But honestly, it's a really great book. And in Australia, these books are only like $12 each, and I'm pretty sure you can get like the whole set for like $30 or something. So books around here are kind of cheap, I guess. Um, I haven't seen another series where it's similar to this. So if you guys are like, I've read this series, but I want something kind of new, I don't have anything for you yet. Besides from maybe Haunting Adeline, but that's like a darker version of Christian, like Zaid, honestly. But besides from that, that's the only similarity I would make with Haunting Adeline is that Christian is kind of like Zaid with his security, but Haunting Adeline is a lot darker. I wouldn't recommend it for someone that's under 18. I started listening to the audiobook and I'm kind of regretting it, but kind of not because I'm still interested in the book. Um I have started to read another Anna Hung book. Well, I ages ago really, but I wasn't very interested in it. It was the first ever series she wrote, I'm pretty sure. I cannot think of the name. But I do have King of Wrath, King of Pride, and King of Greed. I am going to find King of Sloth, and I'm probably going to read those when she's fully came out with all the books so I can do them all in one shot, and still have it somewhat memorized for the review. I do have some other book series here that I'm going to review. I have As Old as Time, I have Icebreaker and Wildfire. I have Keeping 13 and Binding 13. I also have Harry Potter here. You might see those pop up soon for some reviews, but who knows? Hopefully soon. If not soon, then later. This is the end of this video. I hope you did enjoy, and I hope it's a lot shorter than my last one. Have a great day. You will probably see this later today, and it's like what, Monday? So you either see this Monday or Tuesday. But yeah, have a great day. Hope to see you guys soon with my other videos coming.